Welcome to the channel, Mr. Zach Molzer. Zach proudly wearing a University of Nebraska polo, even after a tough loss today. I'm so happy to have Zach on the channel. Zach is 20 years old and he's made $100,000 this year and counting, selling Cutco. And this is as a full-time college student. So just a little background on Zach. Then we're going to break down how he's made 100 grand this year. And he's okay with me saying that over and over again. How he's done that, how he's made six figures as a full-time college student and a bunch of other things. So just a little background on Zach. 20 years old, like I said, goes to school at UNL in Nebraska, as you can see on his shirt. He's very involved as well. So he's in a fraternity. He's an honor roll student. He has a girlfriend of a long time. He loves crypto, plays every brass instrument, plays piano. I know he golfs a lot. And so he does a lot of things besides just work. And how he's done that, how he's made six figures this year. First, I've heard a student do that, by the way, which is why I wanted to make this video. How he's done that, he ran a branch office this summer. He sells a ton on demos, and he's gotten into business gifting and closing gift consultant stuff a little bit as well. So Zach, your branch office was the number 4 branch in the nation this year, right?
Yep, number 4 in the nation, number 2 in the region.
Number 2 in our region, at 100 and what?
$83,000.
$183,000. And personally, so far this year, you've sold what? $122,000 this year's personal sales. So Zach just eclipsed six figures. I think we start where it all started. By the way, Zach started working with Cutco January of 2020, right? Yeah. Not even 2 years in.
Yeah. I guess that's crazy to think about. My 2-year anniversary is coming up.
Just a baby.
Damn, I'm just a child in this business right now.
Child doing grown man things. So Zach, as far as demos, let's start there. So far this year, actually, let's start with the branch. Let's start with the branch office. So you ran a branch this year as a 20-year-old, great experience, I'm sure. I believe when we did the math, you made about $25,000 all added up with your branch, with the company's help that they give and everything like that. What was the number one takeaway from running the branch, or a tip that you have for people to maximize their profit running a branch office for you? So 25K came from that this summer.
Yeah, definitely. First thing, like, I was actually anti-branch. I didn't want to run a branch. And this was like, Buddy was pushing me. He was even winter break last year around this time. Buddy was like, Zach, you should run a branch. And I was like, nah, I'm good. I'll just sell. And I ended up launching some PRs over winter break. And Buddy, then at the end of the winter break, he's like, Zach, come here. And I was like, what? He's like, if your branch office, if you'd have had those PRs in your branch, you'd have an $80,000 branch already. I'll just up your PRs. And I was like, that's pretty easy. He's like, sure. And I was like, all right, yeah, I'll run a branch. So what did I do? First thing going out to my branch is I got a bunch of PRs. So I got my best friend, Alex, another good friend, Anthony. And then they had a couple of friends that wanted to join. So right from the get-go, I had 6 or 7 like friends actually be a part of the team, and like they were also assistant managers. I had Carter Bounty helping me out, and just from the get-go, it was like, hey, I have all these people that want to go after big goals. They're going to be here the whole summer. I know they're not going to quit. And so from there, that just kind of set the foundation. So my biggest tip for people that are going to start a branch is PRs are the easiest way, like your personal PRs, easiest way to kickstart a branch and guarantee some success. I was telling Alex before we started this that my branch did okay. Alex and I sold more than 70% of what our branch did this summer. So PRs is really the name of the game, and how to definitely get a head start. Not a lot of branches do that.
Yeah. So, okay. So just so everybody watching knows, Buddy is Buddy Boyd, Zach's division manager. A PR is a personal recruit. So if you're very new and you're like, what the heck is he saying with PR? That means a personal recruit, which basically means your friend. So what I heard Zach say was he started January 2020, sold a bunch of Cutco last year, wasn't that open to running his own branch. And then he had a bunch of his buddies, a bunch of his friends started working here winter break. Buddy Boyd, his division manager, was like, dude, if you would have just took your friends into a branch office with you, your branch would have done 80K, which by the way is a very strong branch office. And so then Zach was like, well, what the heck? Well, I can do that. And so this summer you ran a branch, did the same thing. You got a bunch of your friends. So if I heard you right, so you made $25,000 this summer with your branch office, and what your branch was just about you and your buddies took on a summer job of running a Cutco office.
That's why like it didn't feel like a job. I remember going in, everyone's like, it's going to be so hard. And it was hard, but it was a different kind of hard because it was hard, you know, being the manager for my best friends. But at the same time, it was super fun because like, it would be like, hey, how's your week going? And my buddy would be like, dude, I'm literally right next door to you. Like, just come over and I'll tell you how my week's going. So it was just so different. So, yeah, I mean, having your friends, definitely makes work a lot more fun, in any aspect as a rep, as an assistant manager, or in this case, running your own branch.
I love it. I did the same thing. My branch was in 2020 and I literally had 3 of my friends as my assistant managers.
Yeah.
And we were just, every staff call was us 4 on Zoom, and we got a lot done, and we broke some records and whatever. And I made 25, 30K as well. But it never felt like work. It was hard, but it was fun hard. So that's it. Okay. There's 25K right there. Second thing, demos. You've personally sold how much this year so far on demos?
60 to 65-ish thousand.
And that's, you're at 50% commission.
Yep.
So that's a good chunk, around $35,000 from that income. What's the number one tip, or what's the number one thing you'd say about that?
Shout out to Rob Brandt first. Oh, you go.
I was just going to say, this is around full-time student, frat, girlfriend, golfing, all the other things. Okay, go ahead.
So, shout out Rob Brandt first. He's my coach. I'm part of the AAA, the All-American Academy. It's basically just a group of really high-level sales reps that, you know, just go all out, especially around school, during pushes and stuff. But Rob definitely installed into me that the vision of like, hey, Zach, you're in college, right? Doing demos, you're not that busy. He's like, he broke it down. He's like, all right, let's make a schedule and let's prioritize, right? Demos and doing work is your last priority. He's like, that's how it works. I know you're 20 years old. You're going to want to go out and do whatever. It's your last priority, but let's just see how much time you actually have. Because you ask someone if they're busy, they're probably going to say, I'm busy. Well, he changed my perspective on what busy is. So we went through my schedule and was like, hey, here's the things you can't fix. School. Okay. There's my built-in schedule every week. Then studying. Hey, these are my built-in times I got to study. Other activities that have to do with school built in, right? Hanging out with my girlfriend, hanging out with friends, because I wanted those prioritized before demos. And they're also, they didn't really conflict though, because the times that I was doing that were obviously in the, like late evening. So it didn't really matter for demos, but we mapped it out and he was like, Zach, you got 25 hours a week or more where you can like do demos and do work stuff. And I was like, oh, that's plenty of time. That's 5 hours for phoning.
Slight internet issue. Okay. You were saying that's 5 hours of phoning.
Yeah. He's like 5 hours of phoning, and 20 demos a week. And I was like, okay, well, we were like, obviously we're not gonna do 20 demos a week, but I could. So that really changed my perspective. It was just like, hey, you make the calls, you do a couple demos. My average order is $1,400 for those that care, which is pretty crazy to think about. So if I make phone calls and I do, 5 demos a week, well, I'm going to make good money. Right. So that was just kind of the game plan. It was like, hey, how do I maximize my time? And it worked out.
Yeah. So it sounds like you learned how to not only build the schedule, but how to prioritize things.
For sure. Yeah.
How to decide what gets prioritized and when. And that's kind of been the key for you with that. For everyone that's watching, that's like, oh, there's the golden nugget. His average order is $1,400. Well, I can't do it. I'm writing it off. I'll just go do it. No, you can do it. You can also get to that point. Zach's average order is not always $1,400. Zach,
no,
would be
I would say my actual quote unquote average order is around, it is still higher, probably around $600. The reason that my average order kind of shifted in the other direction, upward significantly, is because in late July, I started focusing more on like business gifts and stuff like that. And that really just kind of shot it up for not only the year, but for overall. That was kind of the game changer.
Okay, that leads us to number 3. So the last area, and I believe when we broke it down between business gifting and closing gift consultant, somewhere around $35,000 has come from that. That's like a teacher's salary. That's the one area of your business as a 20-year-old, your part-time little business.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Talk about that. Talk about how to get into that, to get those giant orders, to spike the average. How do you get into that? What's the tip there?
Yeah, I mean, I'll start with business first. The first thing with business gifts is you just got to ask. It's the same thing. Every demo, you're asking, a series of questions. Do you like this, Mrs. Jones? When you're asking about the homemaker, dropping down, all that, you're asking questions. Well, why not in the demo? Are you asking just before you start? Hey, Mr. Jones, by the way, do you or anyone you know own a business? Great. Well, remind me at the end, and we'll go ahead and talk about business gifts. They're great. Business gifts. It's not just around the holidays. Right now is the best time, but it's all year round. People are giving appreciation gifts. And you might be closed-minded and think of only certain businesses like real estate agents. Yes, that's one side of things. But I could pull up on all the different companies I've sold to. I've gotten construction companies, orthodontists, dentists, obviously real estate, a glass company. Yes, a company that manufactures glass, did Cutco gifts, you name it. So there's so many different areas and people that love giving gifts out. The market for giving gifts is through the roof. And that's why it's been a really big part of my success and my foundation in terms of transitioning myself more towards that side, because I see the upside in it. So getting involved in that, it's as simple as asking a question, right? Mr. Jones, who do you know? Or do you run a business? Know that works in the marketing department of a business? And then just following those steps from there, right? The picture like your demos as the ice cream, and then business gifts are like the sprinkles and the cherry, because business gifts and realtor gifts, they take a while. It's not hop on the phone, you ask a couple questions like, all right, Mr. Jones, you want to buy 50 gifts, right? It doesn't work like that. But when it does happen, it's pretty crazy. Another thing is the relationships you get out of it. Doing the business and realtor is amazing. I remember woke up on Thanksgiving yesterday, and first text I got was from one of my real estate agents that I sold to. She said, "Happy Thanksgiving." And that was like, that's pretty cool.
That is cool. The relationships for sure. So yeah, now you not only have all these big orders and customers, you also have this network that when you graduate from Nebraska, what are you going to school for?
I'm a double major in management and marketing. Definitely want to do sales when I graduate.
And he's a double major. Add that to the schedule. But now you also have this stacked resume of one of a kind resume that anyone can build, but you have it. Not a lot of people do. And then you also have double major, but the key to all of this is you have this massive network where you want to go work somewhere else when you graduate. You could literally pick from any of your past customers and they would all hire you in a heartbeat.
Sure. The other thing people don't think about is like all these businesses and realtors, it's the first time you sell them is harder, but then year after year, all you have to do, like I can't wait for this upcoming SC2 in July. I'm going to pick up my phone and be like, "Hey, Mrs. Jones, are you ready to get your next order of 200 spatula spreaders?" Great. What's your card info again? Done. Takes 2 minutes, and I'll put in a $13,000 order again, year after year. And this will happen. Let's say I, run the next Fortune 500 company. Well, I can still call all these people every year and still make an extra, $30,000 to $40,000 calling, my top 20 business and realtor orders every year.
Yeah. Yeah. So we have, let's say somebody's watching this, they're at 20K in career sales. The biggest thing is start asking for business gift orders and really prioritize the schedule. But let's say somebody's watching this and they're at $3,000 in career sales. And they're like, well, I'm running out of people to call, this sounds awesome and everything, but I can't do it. What's your number 1 or 2 tips for somebody who is at that point where they have to get over the hump in order to see all the greatness that's on the other side?
First things first is your network is bigger than you think it is. A lot of people say like, oh yeah, go through your school directories, your church directories, your country club directories, all that. Well, not everyone has those available to them. My number one tip is your friends are your greatest asset. You're one referral away from that one referral that gives you 50, right? You just got to ask for it. So referrals and building off that is huge. My goal going into every demo, even now with a big average order size and big career sales, my number one goal going to every demo is I just want 10 referrals. Like that's all I want. I would rather have 10 referrals on every single demo than sell $1,400 because I know that those 10 referrals are going to lead to $10,000 in sales. At least for me, but referrals are the name of the game. So don't forget to ask, memorize the rec approach. That's the big thing. The other thing is you got to try to upsell once you get that card info. That's kind of what changed my mindset from like my first year starting till now. And even even this start of this year was I went into every demo now thinking, hey, I know they're going to buy an ultimate set. Right. I went into every demo thinking they're going to buy an ultimate set. They're going to buy something big. Fun fact, I have sold 2 ultimate sets in my entire career. 2. That's pretty crazy to think about. I promise you that there are people on this call that are listening that have sold a lot more than 2 that are at a lot less career sales than I am. But I'll tell you what, I guarantee there's nobody listening besides maybe Siggy Steve that sold as many signatures. You just got to build the value. You got to ask. Everyone can afford it. You just got to build the value. So.
Okay. Yeah. For the newer people, memorize the rec approach. If you're on my channel, you've probably heard me say that before.
Yeah,
totally though. So Zach, I appreciate it. Any last parting, one last final, if there's an action step or a tip that you wanted to leave people with before we end the recording, what do you got? One last thing.
I mean, everything I said, it's great and all, but it doesn't matter if you don't, go out there and actually do it. So the action step, I'd say, build your names list some more. You can never have too many names. No one's ever going to be like, dang, I have 1,000 names I can call. It doesn't work like that. So build your names list and then just make phone calls. You don't even have to make phone calls, Facebook message people, text people, email. There's so many ways to get demos set up, and your friends, your family, and just people. You have so much support around you. So go kill it. I know you guys all got it.
I actually want to add one last thing on top of that. For anyone who feels, I know there's people, because I've felt this way, feel weird about reaching out to the friends, parents, or friends, families, or whatever. Look at Zach, what he's been able to do in building his own network. That all started because he first utilized the network that he had. The only way that you can get to the point where you're building your own network of people is by utilizing the one gifted to you. So whether that is family or teachers or coaches or family friends, your friends' parents, you have to find a way to use those networks, and you might as well do it now rather than in 10 years when you need a job. So, all right, Zach, I appreciate you being on.
Yeah. Thank you so much, Alex. Yes. Have a good one.
Keep earning it and then putting it in the crypto, man.
Yes. Let's do it.